you're a Penguin fan. You were somebody who experienced a rather difficult rebuild in the mid-2000s and had a decent understanding, and you do have a decent understanding of teams in the same situation. The 2000s Penguins, the mid-10s Oilers, and the late 10s Sabres. Where would you put today's Rangers in regard to those three?
I don't know if you can really gauge them in the same atmosphere of either, because the Penguins' issues were that they were broke, they were dealing with bankruptcy, and they were on the verge of moving. I mean, that's not happening with the Rangers. I mean, unless there's a budgetary issue, which would shock me. I don't think they're moving anytime soon.
They could start a GoFundMe and nobody's going anywhere.
I mean, the late 2010 Sabres are just bad. They have high draft picks. They don't develop them. I'd say the closest might actually be the Oilers, but that's mostly because they have those really high draft picks. I mean, you have a lot of talent there. Does it pan out though?
Yeah.
So you're in maybe that boat, but I mean, you're not officially there yet because you'd have to have years of futility before you get to that point. I mean, you've had 1 year that was disappointing, but then you randomly blow it up and then overcompensate on grit. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it works out. Maybe it does, but it's a weird move.
Yeah. What do you think of the Metro this year? It's pretty gnarly.
It is. It's very tough. I know. I mean, Carolina's going to be strong. I mean, the only ones I can see really at the bottom are Columbus. They're rebuilding again. It's going to be rough. New Jersey, probably 7th or 6th.
Really? Even with their additions?
I think they're another year away from truly being competitive. Okay. I think they need a bit more to rebuild, because remember the year before they had to start rebuilding a rebuild, which I mean, that'll take another year or two to start retool. So that's why I think they're close, but I think they may just miss. And I think they'll really get their stride next year when you have guys like Hughes, sorry, they have the other Hughes too, I think. Luke Hughes?
That's right. Him. That's right. Yeah,
I think they have him drafted. Ty Smith will keep developing. Dougie Hamilton will really meld in, hopefully, to that style. You have, Yegor Sharangovich, Nico Hischier. So you have talent on that roster. It's just getting it to develop and mesh into a cohesive unit.
I probably should have asked you about the Devils instead of the Rangers, because they've had a couple of high picks now, and
they had a rough last year. I know this final year also, this is the last year of the PK Subban deal. So I know, I was actually on the Devils podcast a couple of days ago, so that's why I was able to dig into that.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why I kind of got more of an insight as to what they're doing and how they're kind of building. I had an idea of what they're doing, but at the same time, they're kind of still about a year away, I would say. The Rangers, I feel they're about a year ahead of where the Devils were. Yeah. So, I mean, you're hoping for development from Kakko, Lafreniere, Kravtsov. Unfortunately, I mean, I think it was a mistake to trade Buchnevich, but they didn't have the cap to really sign him.
Yeah,
so
they're going to need to sign Zibanejad next season. So
that's going to be the issue. I mean, because in a couple of years, I mean, barring how they pan out, you're going to have to pay Kakko. You're going to have to pay.
Right.
I mean, fortunately, you might be able to get them on bridges for a little bit and then get them to their contracts. But that Kreider contract's really starting to pinch on you.
Yeah.
And that may be the point where it's okay, we may have to trade him for less value, but just because we need the cap.
Right. How do you feel about the Penguins? How much longer do you think they have a window?
Well, this year is their last chance. If you actually look at their current situation, it's very tough to gauge them as anything serious. Crosby's going to be out for a few weeks to start the year. Malkin's out for at least a month or two. Their best center right now is Jeff Carter. And then you look at their free agent situation. Malkin's a free agent. Letang's a free agent. Jeff Carter's a free agent. Brian Rust is a free agent. And that's
None
a guy
of those are kids, neither.
Oh, not at all. I mean, Brian Rust, I can easily see him getting 7x7 on the market. Somebody's going to pay him big time. If Zach Hyman gets 5.5x7, Brian Rust is easily getting 7x7 if he has the same year.
Yeah. By the same token, how do you feel about Washington? Washington seems like they're
their core is stale. It's a situation the Penguins were in a couple years ago where like they get kind of caught up in building like a team to beat a certain other team. Like they got like, you know, older, slower, more physical, but at the same time, like it's taken away from what made Washington really good, and that was their strong defensive style and good like structure. They haven't won a playoff series since that cup win. And I think people are starting to realize it was Trotz that made that.
Yeah, Trotz.
Especially since he's taken really underperform like teams that shouldn't make the playoffs in the Islanders. And he's taken them deep to the playoffs.
Yeah, the Islanders look untouchable all of a sudden.
They look very good, very good. Good structure up there. They've done.
In a perfect world, if Henrik Lundqvist didn't have his unfortunate issues, and for some reason he was able to play and a free agent, would you have taken him on a flyer for the postseason last year?
I don't know. Remember, he was under contract in Washington, so he probably would have played for them.
Well, I'm just, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, you probably would have because you didn't have a backup for Tristan Jarry. I mean, Casey DeSmith was injured.
Yeah,
so you really have to get somebody.
That series.
So I mean, that was Jarry. I'm surprised he's still a Penguin, to be honest with you. I thought they were going to run him out of town.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense logically to not trade him, but. I mean, that was bad. Like game 4, when he just yeeted the puck to just Josh Bailey, I'm sitting there like, what the hell was that? I'm just like stunned at just like how boneheaded that was.
Who do you think has more rope, NHL goalies or NFL kickers?
I'd say goalies. Kickers are like just dropped it like a hat if they have a slump period.
Oh, you missed 2? You're done.
Pretty much. Like I'm surprised. That's why I'm more surprised they didn't cut Greg Joseph from Minnesota after he missed that field goal. Got another chance. But I mean, a lot of kickers, like they just get like just cut if they have like a bad stretch.